Good morning, all of you. The Asian International Senior Secondary School Bebu hearty welcomes to you in the online classes of our school. Day before yesterday, we have completed some of the portions of the chapter number 1, the matter in surroundings of class 9 subject science chemistry topics. So today we will see about the changes of the states of matter. So, can I ask you that the matter can change its state? We will describe these portions completely today. So now, I would like to write the name of the topic, that is matter can change its state. Change its state. Do you know matter? One example I'll take here is, if I would like to take one of example, H2O. You all know that the water is found in 3 sets of matter in the nature. Water that is in solid state, liquid state and gas state. How it becomes changes, this phenomenon will be studied today. Now see, we will take one of the activity. Take one of the beaker in this way and just put inside it 50 gram of ice. 50 gram of ice. Crushed ice, put it here and dip a laboratory thermometer into it. You will observe that, suppose this is the lab thermometer. When you put the knob of lab thermometer into it, you will observe that the temperature. Correctly, you will observe some of the portions or some of the range of the temperatures here. You see that when this beaker is to be kept on the stands in this way, on the tripod stands I say, and this is to be holded by a complete stand, and you observe that before this is thermometer, and in this thermometer you will observe that when crushed ice, crushed means completely broken, crushed ice, you will observe that the temperature of this crushed ice is something different. What will be there? You have studied the temperature of crushed ice in the previous classes is suppose 0 degree centigrade, right? You have studied in previous classes, but you observe that what? When you apply and when you use that here burner, and if that burner will provide the heat to it, you will observe that you observe that these pieces of the ice, crushed ice, is to be changes into its state, means that becomes changes into its liquid state. Ice, crushed ice that was in solid state, and it started to completely in, not in ice, I'll say this is water, and this water in which state? Liquid state. So at that time when the crushed ice is to be changes into water or liquid state, you observe the temperature. The temperature will remain the same. The temperature will remain the same. Yes? No. Why? Because at that time the sum of the temperature will be rise. Do you observe it? No. Why? Because at that time, suppose the temperature of ice was 0 degree centigrade and the temperature of that water will be 0 degree centigrade. Means ice is changing into water, but the temperature will remain the same. Why? Because at that time, when the crushed ice is to be start to change in liquid state, that phenomena is known as melting point. So this is, we can define here, melting point. Melting point means we can say that the temperature at which solid starts to change into liquid state, the temperature at which solid starts to in its liquid state, this phenomena is called as melting point. You are thinking that, sir, before that, when the crushed ice was inside it, the temperature was 0 degree. The temperature was 0 degree. And later on, after it's to be changed into liquid state, again the temperature will remain 0 degree. So, the increasing of the temperature means a small amount of heat is to be taken by the crushed ice. When gone, this heat is known as the latent heat. See here the meaning of latent heat. I'll rub it. Latent heat means the heat required. This is known as latent. Latent means hidden. This is known as latent heat. So here of the solid state is to be changes into liquid state. Due to this reason, this latent heat is known as latent heat of fusion. Latent heat of fusion. See the definition? The heat required to change the state of solids into liquids at liquids of 1 kg at atmospheric pressure. This is the conditions: atmospheric pressure, and this phenomena is called pressure, and this phenomena is called as latent heat of fusion, because the solid part of the materials or that the crushed ice is to be changing into its liquid state, right? This phenomena is called as latent heat of fusion. Means the temperature of that crushed ice was 0 degree, and when it becomes completely melt into liquid state, the temperature of that liquid state is also 0 degree. So the temperature or the heat, whatever that is to be taken by this burner, this is only required to change the one state to another state, not increasing of the temperature of water. This phenomena is called as latent heat of fusion. Clear? See the another phenomena. If I will say the temperature is 0 degree, it is to be said as, according to SI unit of the temperature, Kelvin units, the temperature is 0 degrees centigrade, that is 273.15 Kelvin. We will not measure here. Here is will remain 0 degrees centigrade. This is 0 degrees centigrade. But in this case, it is to be written to 73.15 Kelvin. Not any type of degrees to be mentioned here. Why? Because this is the SI unit of temperature. Standard SI unit of temperature. So if we will say the temperature of water at 0 degrees centigrade, that is to be mentioned as 273.15 Kelvin temperature. If I will say the temperature is increasing, suppose 5 degree centigrade. So what will be the temperature of that 5 degree materials in Kelvin scale? Then we will say 5, that is the value of degree centigrade, plus 273.15 Kelvin, that is becomes equal to 273, that is 278.15 Kelvin. This will be the temperature of a metal or a material which has the 5 degrees centigrade of its temperature. Okay, I'll say the next phenomenon, because we are studying about the change in temperature. I'd like to explain about that things. If that whole of the water is changed into liquid state, this is in liquid, not a crushed ice. Now this is in water, and the temperature of that water is also 0 degree. Okay, so at this time when this completely water is changed or crushed water, crushed ice is changed into water in liquid state, the temperature becomes 0 degree. So what will happen when we will apply that more of heat to this water? At that time you will observe that two of the conditions, water, and at last that will be changed into vapor. Water, that is liquid state, and vapor, that is gas state. The temperature of water at that time is 0 degree centigrade, and at that time the temperature of that vapor will be 100 degree centigrade in case of water. So at this time the total water will be start to boil. It will start to be boil. Why it happens? Because we are providing heat. And in this case, when we are providing the heat, not totally heat is to be taken for that the boilings. Before that, a lot of heat is to be taken through this burner by this water to change its state. Means the particles present into water that gets the heat, and when they get the heat, they start to strike to each another. Means the particles changes in its energy, that is known as kinetic energy. This is known as kinetic energy. Means the energy which is required to move a particles is known as kinetic energy. So at this time, when the particles that are present into the water in liquid state, they take the more of heat through the burner, and after taking that the energy, they start to collide. They start to strike to each another. At that time, the kinetic energy of that particles becomes changed. And due to increasing in the kinetic energy, they create the pressure on the wall. And when they strike to each other, a lot of energy is to be taken by this water. It lasts when the temperature becomes 100 degrees centigrade. These particles which are present into the water, they left from its places and they moved outside. Means their original positions becomes changes. At that time, you will observe the temperature of thermometer. You will observe that is 100 degrees centigrade. So we will define another term of the states of matter. See, that is known as boiling point. So I would like to explain about the meaning of boiling point. Generally, it is to be written as boiling point. Boiling point. So can we say that the temperature at which water starts to boil at atmospheric pressure, it is called as boiling point. Okay, so what is the boiling point of water? Boiling point of water is H2O is equal to 100 degree centigrade. 100 degree centigrade, and if you want to define it in Kelvin scales, then I will say 373.15 Kelvin. So this is in another scale. So the temperature is the 100 degree temperature at which the water start to boil, means the states of the particles of that liquid starts to in vapor state. This temperature is known as boiling point. Okay. Before that we will define, because when it starts to take 0 degree water centigrade, water presents in 0 degree centigrade, when it starts to take the heat, it not start quickly to change into vapor state. Before that, it takes for a longer time to change in state. So that heat is known as latent heat of vaporizations. So I would like to define it. The another term, latent heat of vaporizations. See that. Latent heat of vaporizations. Means the heat required to a liquid to change its positions till of boiling point. The heat required to a liquid to change its temperature till of 100 degree centigrade is called latent heat of vaporizations. Okay, so how much will be there, that depends on the type of liquids. I would like to explain one of example. If you will take a small amount of gasoline, you mean petrol, on your palm, you will observe that after a few seconds, few of minutes, you will observe that no liquids are left there. Why? Means the liquid, the gasoline particle is taken on your palm, that requires a very little of latent heat of vaporization. Means that heat is to be taken from our body, and due to this reason, the whole of gasoline, whole of the petrol is to be changed into its vapor state. So that depends on the different types of liquids. Okay, so this is our next phenomena, that is known as boiling point. Now I would like to explain the next phenomena. Sometimes you have seen that the temperature changes, state changes. See, this is water, S2, H2O. This is in liquid state. But again, when we change the temperature of this liquid state, means we cool it. The states of this water is to be changed into solid state, and that state is called as solid form of water. So in this time, this liquid form is changing into solid form. This phenomenon is known as a term that is solidifications. Solidifications means the changing of liquid states into its solid state is called as solidifications. So in case of water, when you change the water that was in liquid state, suppose that is 50 degrees centigrade here, but when it is to be changing into here in solidifications, so what will be the temperature of that water in solidified forms? You will ask to any of the peoples more of that side 0 degree centigrade, but it's not a 0 degree, and 4 degrees centigrade it starts to solidify. The solidifications start to solidifications. So this phenomena is known as abnormal behavior of water. Means the water does not change into its solidified forms at 0 degree. Before 0 degree, that means at 4 degrees centigrade it starts to change its in solidified forms. So this phenomena is called as solidifications. So today this topic is completed. I think you have understand it very carefully. I will explain the next topic in next classes. Thank you. Have a nice day.